Take these first few moments to be an opportunity to settle in your body. And that might mean a little bit of movement or gazing around the room to create safety and connection. And as soon as you begin to feel into a comfortable position, just take a few moments to notice what that feels like, to be comfortable. Feel into the support that you have offered yourself, whether that be props or the position you chose. Maybe there's a wall behind you, or the feeling of the solid ground beneath you. And give yourself permission to continue editing where you are in space until you really feel your ability to be relatively still. And with your mouth closed, begin to breathe in a calm and soothing, rhythmic manner. And see if you can cultivate a gentle pause at the bottom of each exhale. Just a few moments where you soften around the emptiness. And in those moments of soft emptiness, feel into your alignment and see if there are any further adjustments that would help create a little more space for your breath, or bring a little more structure. And can you do this in a way or from a perspective of curiosity? It's never about getting it perfect. It's just being curious as to what would feel good, what would be supportive. Staying open to those insights or nudges as they arise throughout this process. At this point, regardless of all that you might be feeling or not feeling right now, let's invite in your higher self to take the lead in this journey today. Your higher self being the part of you that is compassionate, is curious, has a centeredness, a calm, an effervescent clarity. It's the part of you that can witness without judgment and observe without attachment. Notice how you're breathing as you come into deeper connection with your higher self. And for today's meditation, we will specifically be working with the energy of depression. And there are a few ways that you can set a mindset or choose to move through this process. And one of those ways would be to just do it. Do it in real time. Move through it. Meet whatever arises and trust the process. And you could also just dip your toes in and out throughout this journey. In moments where perhaps you feel overwhelmed or you find yourself back in disconnection or shut down or sleep, to know that that's okay and that you can just pick up wherever you left off or join in to whatever I'm saying at that moment, and that dipping your toes in will also create an experience that will be beneficial as you come back to this meditation, maybe several times. And a third way you could move through this is more of a mindset of imagine what it would be like to do this, more of a visualization, as if you are wanting to map this template out in your own psyche before you fully go on the journey. And it could be a mix of all three of those potential options. And there may be more options, but those are the three that stood out to me. So this map comes from one of my teachers, Christine Wushke, and we have been collaborating on this process of the evolution of transforming from the deep, heavy blocks, distractions, the things that get in our way, depression being one of those. And what it looks like as we elevate our energy up levels while still honoring where we are and what we're experiencing. So to begin the journey, we start in the state of our higher self, as I mentioned earlier. That sense of compassion and curiosity, and potentially even a deep-seated trust that you're supported and that you're more than any one thing you experience or feel. And so from that state, we want to turn towards depression. And that might be a feeling. You might notice where it resides in your body currently, or where you have felt it. Or it could be an overall idea of what depression is, or what it looks like or feels like. There might be a memory or something you said. And see what it would take to just turn towards that notion, that experience of depression. And potentially, as you hold space for depression, notice the thoughts that appear, any judgments or impulses or reactions. And from the seat of your higher self, to notice those. Now, don't push them away or think you're doing it wrong. Just honor what is unpacking, what unravels, what comes with this experience of depression. It's complex. Just give yourself a few moments here to just feel, whether it's the lack of feeling or too much to feel. Notice how you're breathing as you continue to just turn towards depression. See it and feel it. Hold space for it. Now we are going to work towards creating a more voluminous structure out of this thing of depression. That it is full of beautiful, actually amazing properties and concepts and feelings. That as we sit with each one, we can allow them to up-level into where they naturally want to go. It is about differentiating and integrating. So as we sit with depression, see if you can separate or open depression a little bit to see the duality that pops out of it. And we're still in quite intense territory here. So be very mindful of your breath. The depression is a combination of wrath and suppression. Wrath being just intensity, destruction, pain. It's overwhelming, it's huge. It seems uncontrollable. And on the other side, again, is suppression. It's what we do when something is too big, too overwhelming. It's like trying to pack 3 times the amount that you can into a suitcase and just trying to shove it in and push it down, and it wants to blow up so badly, but you are now just putting all your weight on it to keep it contained. At this point, perhaps you can hold both from a distance, or it might seem appropriate to move in to meet each one individually and give each one space to just hear it and see it and feel it. And if you stay holding the hand of your breath and in the seat of your higher self, you don't need to worry about being overwhelmed or taken over by either of these intense sensations or experiences. Just witness them and hold loving space for each one to the best of your ability today. If you've spent time with one, ensure that you do that for the other, giving both wrath and suppression equal seats at the table. Continue allowing intensity or sensation to be there while your higher self supports you in softening around the sensation, around the experience. And perhaps you're noticing a lot of power, a lot of energy right now. And that's an important piece to bring into this journey, because depression becomes a victim cycle Depression, moves into suppression. There's power, there's wrath, and then back into depression. And that just keeps our vibration low and keeps us locked into this toxic, heavy, uncomfortable place. So while we hold space for this darkness and this heaviness and whatever else is appearing for you, know that we can now see a little deeper and move a little higher. And we can do that with compassion. By first of all, looking at suppression, this desire or this innate impulse to push away what's too much, to hide it. It's protection. Your body is trying to protect you. So to just look at suppression from that different angle of, I'm trying to protect myself. What a beautiful thing for my body to naturally do. Beneath that suppression, we find protection. Just notice if anything shifts as you become aware of that side, that piece. And when you turn back towards wrath, can you see that beneath the wrath, the intention or purpose of the wrath is coming from anger? An emotion, a familiar emotion, still intense and heavy, but it's different than wrath. Wrath is the accumulation of unprocessed anger. Be with the anger. Continue holding the hand of your breath. So there's a little bit of space between your higher self and the part of you that is angry. And so now we can see that from suppression, we find protection. And from wrath, we find anger. So from this power, this energy, we now see these two parts of protection and anger. And you're more than welcome to stay on this level for a little while if you need to be with both. Hold space for both. Honor both. Because just because you have a map does not mean that you can spiritually bypass the levels. You need to know them intimately. So when you're ready to look back at protection and really hold it and see it and get curious about it as to what do you want? What are you trying to do? Protection. We get access to this realization that protection is about containment. It's about creating a boundary, a container. Let's now see if you can be with it at that level. It's a desire for containment. look back at anger and get curious about anger, what does anger want? What's your purpose, anger? And as we sit with anger, we discover heat, an immense amount of heat in the body. And if it feels safe today to be with that heat, then ensure you're still holding the hand of your breath and notice the heat. And now as we hold space for heat and containment, we can start to look in deeper, turning towards containment. What do you want, containment? And we see that containment is responsibility. To be responsible. To hold space for responsibility. Noticing how it feels in your body. Notice how you're breathing. Keep guiding your breath into that calm, rhythmic manner. Story follows state. And when you're ready to look back at heat, hold space for heat. And we sit with what is the purpose of heat. We come to the realization that it is through heat that we transform. So heat takes us to manifestation. So now we have manifestation and responsibility. And as you intimately know this layer, you will find that the next layers are moved through exponentially quicker. There's a trajectory of coming back to source, coming back to life. That at this point, momentum is generated. Where you can feel supported, where you can fully let go and surrender while knowing there are tethers all around you, pushing you forward, pulling you back, holding you up. You are supported. From responsibility, we move into guardianship, where we start to expand outside our own personality to see we are supported internally and externally. And from manifestation, we move to the level of wattage, just pure, unobstructed power. Wattage and guardianship. And when we are so fully supported with guardianship, we can then move up to the next level of forgiveness. full, whole body forgiveness. And from wattage, we move up a level to the individual will. Where we start recognizing our choice, our freedom. From forgiveness, we level up to mercy. And from individual will, we level up to purpose, dharma, why we are here. Mercy levels up to surrender, fully letting go. This immense power and wattage and choice is within you, and you don't have to control or try to control anything. Surrender. While on the other side, purpose levels up to the will of the higher self. We start moving into the larger and more expansive dimensions where we are choosing unity, being operated by the higher self. And finally, we come to the last dimension, while surrender levels up to the divine womb, and higher will of the self moves up to divine will, which is the level of creation. Divine will, divine womb, source energy. This source energy where you are a unique wave in the ocean of consciousness. So stay in this state or contemplation for as long as you need or want today. And know that this will take time as you come back to it. Start noticing more, feeling more, opening more. That these levels will take on new significance the more you move through them. Continue holding the hand of your breath and trust that you are supported. Namaste.